Hey, welcome back to another episode of Looking Out and Up. I'm Penny,
And I'm Les.
and today we are going to talk about, not the love potion number 9, even better. We're going to discuss our 7 vows of love.
Is this another relationship episode?
Yes, dear.
Oh.
So let me start off, honey.
Yeah.
Before committing yourself to another person, let's maybe ditch the vague vows of marriage, for another option. So,
I like where this is going. You don't have to get married.
no, you don't have to get married.
Awesome.
But it's a love recipe for a committed relationship. Okay.
Okay.
And so I'm offering to consider possibly the 7 vows of love.
Mm-hmm.
And it sets clear expectations
And boundaries.
for the both of us.
I don't like boundaries.
For the both of
I don't
us.
like boundaries.
But boundaries are good because what does it do? Boundaries helps us create a home life worth living. Right, dear?
Yes.
So if you want your life to stop resembling a game of craps, listen up. Turn up the volume and listen up. Remember, we're primarily a podcast. Life is hard, and it's even harder when you're trying to build and strengthen a long-term relationship.
Ain't that the truth?
Being in a love relationship without understanding my desires, my values, your values, my needs, and your needs, well, it's all going to eventually just lead to breakup. Right?
Probably. Yeah.
So instead of living a life that's scribbled with vague vows of commitment, maybe let's try these 7 vows, and it might save you years of wasting your life, money, and heartache.
Okay. Wow.
How about the backstory of us?
Backstory of us?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me see.
Can I interject? You're looking out of our window and looking up, okay?
Is that part of the relationship advice?
No, I just
Because I do find myself oftentimes married, staring out into the great abyss, wondering how it is that I got here. Well, I'm trying to think here. As our backstory, we live a traditional relation. We have a very traditional relationship, husband and wife. This is neither of ours first go around. We've both been married in the past before. So we know what failed relationships look like. We both have experience at failed relationships, and we have a tremendous experience with a good relationship, an awesome relationship. We've been together for, more than half of our lives. We have been together for 30 plus years. And we've been blessed with, we've had a total of 5 children. They're all adults now. All of them are in meaningful relationships. I don't know that all of them I would say all of them we pretty much consider married, even though not all of them have technically tied that traditional knot. The beauty of what we have built is that this will be an episode in the future, I'm sure, treating your children as friends. And we did not do that when our children were young. We were the divining rod in their life. We were the ones who were steering and guiding them in their lives. And of course, when children are young, that creates resentment. We're very fortunate. All of our children now call unexpectedly, drop by unexpectedly. We have great relationships with all of our children. We have one now who lives out in Portland, Oregon, but the rest of them are actually very close by here to where the world's most dangerous studio is. They are actually very close by, and they will randomly drop in, and it's one of the things that Penny and I are maybe the most proud of, is that our children just simply drop by. It's out of nowhere. Kind of tears Penny up a lot of times because all of a sudden, Friday, 5 o'clock, they know that we're almost always home, right? We don't do a lot of exciting things in our normal week. And they know that we're home, and I think it's a wonderful thing. They know that they can stop by whenever they want. We love that. We live a very simple life. I hate the word frugal because it immediately goes to cheap, right? Everybody thinks if you say you're frugal, and I don't know, are we frugal by design or it's just how you and
By
I
choice.
are? Well, I'm just saying it's just kind of how we are. Neither one of us, I certainly spend more money than Penny does. There's no doubt about that. I spend more money than she does. But our relationship has never felt, as much as I joke around and as much as I give my lovely wife a hard time about it, we have never felt trapped in this relationship. We went in, one of the very first things we did, and I guess I knew that's how I knew our relationship was going to work, was we both sat down with each other shortly into our relationship, which, by the way, the backstory of our relationship is going to be a future episode. No doubt about it, because we have a very unique, how we came together, how we wound up where we are, how we raised our family, is a very interesting story. It's a very unique story. It's I think it could happen more often, but people are kind of scared. I think a lot of people would be scared to approach a love relationship the way that we did. But we sat down, it was very early on that we sat down and we kind of hammered out what our expectations were, what neither of us would put up with, what were just no sales, right? There's no way that I will go forward with this if you are a person who does X, Y, and Z. And that went both ways. That was not me being demanding on Penny, and that was not Penny being demanding. That was just what we had decided from failed relationships and other things going on in our lives, things that we had done prior. So anyway, that's a little bit of a backstory. Like I said, a future episode, we'll get into how we met and how the relationship was so unique compared to most people's relationship. But now we're going to actually get into these 7 vows of love. Can I do a Barry White? The 7 vows of love. No, I can't do that. All right.
Okay, so number 1.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love this one. I'm reading it right now. This is good. This is my favorite one of the whole bunch.
The devoted husband has the final say. Our relationship is Les has 51% and I have 49%. Not because I'm stupid or ditzy or...
Well, I mean, sometimes maybe a little ditzy.
But it's because he is the man and I trust him.
Yeah, well, that's your first mistake. But no, this is something that you can't have a relationship where everything can always end in a tie, right? At some point, things have to get done, and I'm not here to tell anybody that the husband has to be the leader of the household. That's our personal belief, is that the man would ultimately be the one who's going to have the final say. But this comes with a lot of responsibility. Women who think that this is terrible, and men who think that this is the most awesome thing ever, like I was joking about leading into it, don't realize that there's a huge amount of responsibility in this. If you are, whether you're the woman in the relationship or the man in the relationship, if you are the one who is going to have the final say, you need to be fair, you need to be attentive, you need to hear the other person out. I have had decisions made in my mind, and Penny and I have sat down and had discussions, and I have changed my mind about the direction that I was going to go on something. So that's a requirement, no matter who's making that final call. That person, that you can't have complete anarchy at a family level.
You can't have anarchy in even an employment level.
That's right.
There's one boss.
And if there isn't, you're working for a company that is in absolute chaos, or will be shortly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
I mean, there's one alpha
Yep.
of a pack.
Yep. Well, and I don't even, this is kind of a bad one this is not a bad one. This is kind of a tough one for me, because like I say, you should be leading whoever that leader is in your relationship, whoever it is that you decide that it's going to be leading or having final say in a relationship. It sounds like a great place to be, but it is not always the greatest place to be, because I've got news for everyone out there. Women, your men are going to screw up. Men, you are going to screw up. It's just, you are going to make a wrong decision. And we can get off on a tangent. This isn't one of the 7 vows, but this is, well, it kind of does play into this. We don't hold that over people's heads. We realize that when people made a decision, you have to be in a relationship that you trust the other person. And you have to be in a position to know that even if that decision wound up to be the wrong decision, that it was made from the right place. These are important parts in relationships. Okay.
So that's number 1. Let me reiterate. It's the devoted husband has the final say.
Yeah.
Number 2, the devoted husband is the provider of food, shelter, and safety.
That's a lot. I know. Can I like farm some of that out?
No.
No?
No, not if we're in a traditional relationship.
I can't farm any of that out? That's all on me?
Yes,
Oh,
you're the
Lord.
husband.
Oh, Lord, I am.
That's how our relationship works.
It is?
I mean, yes. You pour your energy and your heart and your time to provide financially and physically.
That is true, yeah. And it's beaten me down.
You pay the bills.
Yeah, it's beaten me down over these years.
And that's hard to do.
Ready for retirement. Yeah. Go on. I know there's
Well,
this is a pennyism. So whenever she's going to mention the husband or the man in a relationship or women, you're next.
part of number 2, the second part is the devoted wife. My job is to multiply the raw values.
You did that. We had 5 children.
To multiply the raw values that you provide in the food, the shelter, and the safety. And I cook meals from scratch. I clean the home.
Mm-hmm.
I nurture the children.
Hey, by the way, the bathroom's got to be done.
I heard.
Just like, did you get that already today? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't paying attention. All right. Okay.
I pour my heart, my time, my energy in creating a home life that's rich in love and rich in shared memories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And nobody wants to go out and battle all day and then come home and battle, right? So a man who comes home, or a person who comes home, like I say, I'm not opposed to anybody's modern worldview necessarily. If it's working for you, it's working for you. If it's not working for you, hopefully there's some gems in here that are going to help you out. But like I say, nobody who's been out at work all day wants to come and battling for their family. We'll just use that term, battling, and come home and it's a battlefront when he gets home, or when that person gets home. Nobody wants that. And people who are out there battling every day also remember, when you drive into your driveway, take an extra 10 seconds in your vehicle and be thankful that you're home, and think about the people inside your home. Love you, respect you. That's just how this whole thing works. This is grade school stuff, but people fail at it just loads of relationships. There's no gratitude for what the other person is providing. And anyway, so we'll move on. Sorry.
Number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Divorce is not an option.
Yeah, that is true. If you hammer things out at the beginning and you are both living up to it's true, it's an oversimplification to a degree, because there are things, people do renege on their words, right? People do go back on what they told you and when you went into a relationship. And there are certainly things that you should never put up with in a relationship. And I'm sure that'll be a future episode, things that make you say goodbye right now. But yes, when it's just silly arguments, money, things like that, divorce is not an option.
It's a time to, if you're having a conflict or a disagreement, it's time to have courageous conversations with the one that you love.
Yeah, I think, that women are maybe worse at this than men.
Women want to win.
Well, I think everybody wants to win an argument, right, Penny? But I think that sometimes, as much as an argument can be productive, if it's not just people yelling at each other, and I don't want anybody to think that me and Miss Penny here have not had arguments in the past, and we have. We're very fortunate we never argued over money. We never argued over cheating or infidelity. We never argued over anything like that. But we have had some arguments that were very family based. We disagreed with one another, and this was really, I can't say it was it was quite early in our relationship. We don't really, we have this funny dynamic. We don't really argue anymore. We more banter back and forth. And some people who they would watch it, it would almost be like bickering. But we don't really raise our tone towards one another. We don't really, but we will bicker, and I tend to be kind of a shit starter. I won't, sometimes I say things just to get a rise out of people, or I will make comments, and I mean them only half-heartedly. And that can lead to some disagreements on us, between us.
But when we get upset at each other, we talk. We don't assume, we ask, because we want to have an understanding of I want to have a better understanding of where you're coming from.
Yep. Well, and I actually got sidetracked a little by blabbering there, and I'm sorry. But what my point there was going to be was to get back to, and sometimes silence is golden. Sometimes you both know that you're not going to agree on a particular subject. Penny and I have not always 100% agreed on on a lot of things. There's been a lot of issues in our lives. Thankfully, they're not major issues. But we have disagreements about things. As we've gotten older, we have fewer disagreements. We disagree on way less than what we did, 20 years ago. And this information is more important for people starting out in a relationship. And remember, ladies and men, but this is usually a lady problem. This is usually a female problem in a relationship. When a man walks away, it doesn't mean that the conversation is over. It means that he wants space to calm down. We are all somewhat driven by hormones and instincts, and men will lash out if they're pushed too far. And it's as you get older, you control this more. It's no different than a woman who is on her menstrual cycle, who's having her period, and she's more emotional. And we tend to give, a lot of leeway. Men traditionally have given a lot of leeway to women who are that time of the month. But women realize that those hormones and that type of thing exist within men too. And sometime a man has to walk away just to simply clear his head, take 5 or 10 minutes, or maybe even a half an hour to calm down, think about something, and then return. The only thing I can tell you is that when he returns, don't start up with a heightened voice. My wife, Penny, has always been really good at this. When she knows I'm upset, she usually has not, fed the beast. She usually, if I
keep pushing your buttons.
That's exactly right.
I don't follow you.
If I walk away and I come back, the tone at that point should change dramatically, right? This should be something that somebody had to walk away, and they walked away for a good reason. Let's not poke the bear. Let's not push the buttons. And
But you return.
You return, and now the conversation can start over.
Yes, because you never leave any concerns that you have unresolved. You don't let it fester and build up.
Yeah, this destroys a ton of relationships. You are right. Things that people have brushed under the rug, that they never resolve something, even if they resolved it by saying, we're just going to agree to disagree. They hang on to it. And it festers, and somewhere a year from now, 6 years from now, 10 years from now, women even more so than men maybe on this subject too, but people don't tend to forget that. If it's festering underneath, you're going to see it at some point. It's going to raise its ugly head, and you'd wish that you'd have just resolved it a year ago, 5 years ago, whenever it came up. So, yes.
So, reiterating number 3, divorce is not an option.
Yeah, no calling it quits.
No calling it quits.
No.
Okay. Number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Sex is not a weapon of destruction.
I don't know. I got a missile.
Sex is it's an intimate display of connecting our bodies, our mind, and our soul.
That's
Do you agree?
most of the time that's what it's about. Yeah, okay, sure, I'll go with that.
Right?
Yeah,
Sex
well,
is not a weapon.
it's not a weapon. And here again, I'm going to say this is not 100% across the board. It's also for men sometimes just a simple release of tension. So ladies, don't get disappointed if the man is not always the most romantic when it comes to a sexual act. Sometimes men are just simply, for lack of a better term, letting off steam. But it's in a it's in a reproductive way. It's in a productive and a reproductive way. So don't always think that, I mean, be happy that in women, I'm sure there's women like this out there in the world too. So every time I say men, I know that there's a portion of women who are this way too. Just realize that not all the time is a sexual act going to be, this, so heart and soul. Sometimes it is a very physical act, and that can be men and women. But be grateful that your spouse is choosing to do that with you and not looking to go someplace else. There is such a thing as honorable submission, maybe. Be happy that your spouse is there with you. He's not wandering the countryside, or she's not wandering the bars or whatever, looking for that outlet. Be the outlet. Be the outlet. Like you say, don't use it as a weapon. And you know what? Give it up pretty freely. You're going to find out that, first of all, as your life goes on, sex becomes less important and also less frequent. There's no doubt about that. You've built a relationship, and it can't just, we hit on this, I think, in our first episode, it can't just be built on sex. Sex is an important part of a relationship. And as the relationship goes along, it becomes less important. You've built a relationship that's more than sexual or more than, just physical. And that should certainly be. So, all right, so.
Okay. Repeating number 4, sex is not a weapon of destruction.
Nope.
Number 5, no single life activities.
Oh boy.
No single life activities if you are in a committed relationship. I have known a lot of people who, I need girls' night out. Girls' night out.
Should have done that before you got married. Yeah. Now because of the world we live in, you have to draw a distinction here, right? So there is nothing wrong at all that a woman still gets together with her sisters, or that she still gets together with her mother and her sisters, or her family,
her girlfriends,
or her girlfriends. But the bar is not the place to be doing this, folks. And men, this is across the board for you as well. Single people, married people do not belong in a bar unless you are with your significant other. That's just, if you have to do it for work, I understand. You can, but here again, man up, say, I don't really go to bars. We can go out and grab dinner. If we go to a place that has a bar in it, but there's also a restaurant, I would much rather sit in the restaurant area. I don't do that without my wife.
Not even for business?
Preferably not for business. I don't write the rule book for all businesses the way businesses are run. But no, it's a bad idea. All the way around. Both sides of the spectrum. This is true for guys. There's such a thing as going golfing with your buddies. There's such a thing as going hunting or fishing with your dad or your brother or your best friend. But when you're on that fishing trip and they think it's a good idea to run up to the bar, be a man up. You're not going to the bar. I'll stay back in camp. I'll just have myself a root beer, or I'll pour myself a bourbon or whatever, and I'll stay right here. I'm perfectly fine right here at camp.
So there's no clubbing.
No clubbing. There's no. You see where this gets you, right? There was just that big hubbub. I don't even know who that guy was. That guy and that woman who worked together. They got caught on the kiss cam at the concert.
Oh,
yeah.
I vaguely.
Yeah, you see stuff like that, and you go, yeah, that's where this leads. You thought it was a good idea to go to a.
It was a concert,
but they had their big fancy club seats, or their corporate seats, and they went, and they're gonna meet each other there. They're gonna have drinks, and they're gonna. And this is something where Penny can vouch for this. If I was in that position for work, that they had seats to go to a concert, we're now to the point where we probably wouldn't go to the concert. But if my wife was not invited to go to that concert, if I could not take my wife with me to the concert, I'm not going to the concert. It's just that simple. I don't. That's not where. No. Bad idea.
So, 5, there's no single life activities.
Yeah, this is funny because this is one of those things where I see it now. The last couple of places that I've worked for, their Christmas parties. I think this is so strange, and yet I'm the one who's always looked at. And the last 2 places I've worked, I will not attend the company Christmas party. And I'm usually pretty well liked at work, and I get along with folks, and we have a good time. And I'm known as the guy who's kind of, happy-go-lucky, and why aren't you coming to the Christmas party? And I make it clear because my wife is not invited. This seems to be a new thing where companies who tell you family and God and this and that first, hey, we're having an off-site Christmas party where there's going to be drinks, there's going to be dancing, there's going to be whatever else is going on. Oh no, you can't bring your spouse. I've never heard of such. This is new to me, but apparently this is now how corporate is. This is now how corporate America or whatever. This is how it works now, and I will not. Penny can vouch for me. I will not attend. I take this down to if Penny and I had invited one of you guys over to our home for dinner, and you were in a meaningful relationship, you had a wife or you had a significant other or whatever, you had a husband, and I said, well, I want you to come over for dinner, but you can't bring your husband. It would be rude. It's downright rude, and I would assume you folks out in the audience would be upset. That would be, you might not ever even talk to me again. And this is how I deal with my employer. I will not attend any company activity where my wife is not an invited guest to those activities. So keep that in mind. You can do this, guys. It's not. It doesn't make your life awful. Make a stand for something. Make a stand here and there. And this is something that I stand big on. If my wife is not invited to something, I'm not going. Plain and simple. A, because it's rude, and B, because I don't go places where my wife's not welcome. It doesn't matter that she's not welcome. It might as well be, well, she can't come because she's not white. It doesn't matter at that point. She's not invited, and it's rude. It's rude as hell to do that. So, anyway, moving on.
Okay, number 6. There's no opposite sex best friend. We're just friends. There's no private phone calls, no direct messaging.
This always gets.
There's no. Well, so and so's feeling a little down. I'm gonna go over and help them out and try to cheer them up.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is not.
But he's just a friend.
This is funny. We talked about this earlier in the episode. So something that was really interesting is that I told you that Penny and I had agreements, or we had a talk before we ever got together, and we both agreed that there is no such thing as a man and woman being best friends without at least one of those parties, and usually both of those parties, having an interest in the other one. That's just how it works. And I know I'm going to hear all the backlash.
Having an interest?
Yeah, having a sexual interest or a relationship interest in the other person. Men and women are not. I mean,
I don't think it has to be sexual. It could be any kind of interest, right?
Well, I'm just saying, men and women are not traditionally friends. That's not a dynamic that goes on. They're friends when they're married. They're friends if I'm friendly or friends. I don't know if you call it friends. I'm friends with my daughter-in-laws. But there is no men and women who are unrelated that are best friends, that one of them at least does not have a sexual or relationship interest in the other one. That's what I'm making. That's what I'm claiming. There's no way. I don't believe that for 1 minute. It's a dangerous ground, guys. Do not even attempt to start having girl friends, or as men, and women having guy friends. I've seen it. We've seen it firsthand ruin relationships. Oh, an old friend from high school, an old friend from high school. Oh, it turns out it was a guy, and this happened to be a young lady. Yeah, a year later, she's divorced from her husband. Just that type of thing.
So 6 again, there's no opposite sex best friend.
That is right.
Number 7, and the final one is kiss good night every night so you can rest your head with, I love you, honey.
Yeah, I think that's an important one. If you end your day, I'm going to tell you guys, you want to have a better morning. If you end your day telling your wife that you love her before you both go to sleep, and she reciprocates and she tells you that she loves you too, it's a wonderful way to actually start your next morning. So we kind of have, I can't say it's a written rule, and certainly I have been in the house and fallen asleep on a couch or something and gotten up later, and I guess I still kiss my wife goodnight and tell her I love her, but she's not awake. But I'm just saying, this is one of those things where if you are looking for little things that will make a huge improvement in your life, telling your significant other every night before you go to sleep.
Even if you're having disagreements.
Oh yeah, it's the most important.
Yes.
If you're having disagreements, to be able to, ladies, you're the worst at this. Let it go for the evening and tell him you love him. You don't know. We have had friends too. We're old enough now that we've seen a lot of things. People die unexpectedly. I even make this point with our children that if I'm on the phone with them, the last thing I'm always going to tell all of my children, no matter what we were discussing, I tell my children, even in text, I love you. That's something, you don't know when you're going to breathe your last breath. And try to make it a point that when you're going to rest your head at night to say I love you, it's going to make your mornings better too, guys. So go out of your way to make that a thing. Well, yeah, I guess, you can take this or leave it. It's one of those things. It's, if you don't honor any of these vows, well, and if you think it's working for you, then you do you. Great. Good luck in your relationship. But this is our flex. Some of you are going to agree with everything we said. Some of you are just going to be simply disturbed and think it's old-fashioned. But I'll tell you, some things are tradition for a reason. You're going to find this out as you get older. Some things that you thought were silly traditions or that you didn't think made a whole lot of sense, or that women can do anything men can do, and we're all equal in what we provide. Penny and I have found out through the years, that's just not true. It's just not true. And it's observable as you go through. You cannot stack responsibilities of men onto women and expect women to come through with flying colors. And men cannot do the same quality of nurturing and that women do. It's in us, folks. It's in our DNA. And you're going to find out, like I say, whether you want to or not, as you get older, these things are going to become more and more obvious. Yeah, we encourage you to examine the ways that you've been taught to love and what you value, and maybe some of these at least will ring true, and maybe they'll improve your relationship and strengthen your relationship. And we hope that it was a help. We look forward to seeing you guys soon. Remember, life doesn't get better, you get better.